What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Barbells and Trails Podcast,
Yeah.
episode 83. We have been gone for a while, but we have returned. We are like the Dark Knight Rises, or the Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah.
That's not what the movie is it?
Dark Knight
Returns, I think. Is that the last one?
Oh,
Batman.
I remember the Dark Knight.
Okay. Well, we don't even know our references either.
You're the one that brought it up, dude.
I did. We're like Batman. We were stuck in the cave for a while. We made it out. We're back in Gotham, and we're here to rock.
Yeah. I guess.
It's a good way to put it. Technically, you never left. Technically, you were here the whole time.
I was here this entire time, dude. I was
So,
just chilling.
I know. We got a lot to catch up on. If you guys did listen to last week's episode, we do apologize for the audio issues for the Avatar. That honestly really did bother me because I couldn't edit it like we wanted to. And honestly, I really enjoyed that episode.
It was such
And
a
it
good
sucked
episode.
because it was hard to, at certain times, even hear Riley talk. So I was like, I don't even know if you could hear some of your dialogue because of how the audio ended up. And I was like, I did my best to make sure I could. But yeah, we literally like started recording that night. We did 2 podcast episodes.
Mm-hmm.
That was second. And OBS glitched out and said it was recording the whole time. And then when we ended, it literally had 3 minutes. And it was the 3 minutes recording before we started the podcast.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was an issue, but it was posted. I hope you guys did like it. We might eventually kind of rehash some of that conversation, I guess. So hopefully the audio is a little better.
Be coming out with more, anyways.
Yeah. So we'll probably rehash that conversation at one point just to talk about a few things, or if we rewatch it, or maybe if we get my sister on because I forced her to start watching it a little bit and stuff, and maybe talk about it with her or somebody else that's interested.
Hey, there we go.
But so yeah, the past couple weeks has been pretty interesting.
Been interesting for you.
Yeah,
Been
maybe.
busy, dude.
Yeah, I mean, so I had 2 weeks off. I was in Florida for a week, and then I was at home for a week. And I played a lot of Helldivers that week home. My sleep schedule is completely destroyed. And honestly, I'm still struggling with it. I feel like a little fat boy. I need to get back in the gym. I've been missing it. I need it. My sleep schedule's still messed up, but I'm trying to get it back on track.
Mine's not the greatest right now, so.
Well, if it says anything, and honestly, I think that might have been a first for me. One of the days off I didn't wake up until 1:30, but I didn't go to bed till 3:30. But I don't even think I did that in high school. I don't think I did that. Like, I went to bed at 3:30 in the morning, woke up in the afternoon, and I was like,
that's insane.
half the day's over. Like, I mean, I ended up obviously not going to bed at a normal time, but still it was like, oh, I feel like the day's just gone, even though I was still up probably till 2. So if that says anything, but so what did you do necessarily while I was gone, especially with Florida? I mean, obviously you worked, but
Yeah, I just worked, dude. I mean, I was on call one
yeah,
night when you were gone, but honestly, not too much. I went over to my mom's and dad's a few times, but I went over to Katie's, but
yeah.
other than that, not much, dude.
Did you play? Kind of sucks because I know you haven't played it, but honestly, I feel like you might be missing out with Helldivers a little bit. Just throwing that out there.
You keep saying this, dude.
Well, because the game's still so early. So if you guys don't know, Helldivers is kind of a big conglomeration baby of basically the 90s sci-fi movie Starship Troopers, Terminator movies, and Halo ODST pretty much kind of combined. And some people even said that like this could be the new wave of gaming, kind of like when Battle Royale came in and kind of created a whole new type of game that they could see other mainstream companies hopping on this train to do something like it. Like Halo could definitely easily make a game where it's not necessarily like Master Chief, but it could be a game similar to that where you're dropping in and just doing missions open worldly.
Isn't it like Halo Infinite kind of like that though?
A little, but like they could do something very similar to that where it's like you have random objectives on different maps and you do stuff as like a soldier. Or like I heard someone talk where they're like they could make a Star Wars game like this easily and people
cool.
would love it.
I would love
And like the Battlefield games or Battlefront games, sorry, those were good.
Those were amazing, dude.
Those were really good and they were fun. So I was like, I could only imagine a Star Wars game like Helldivers because that would be really cool too.
Yeah.
So it is really cool and it's still new to the game and they're adding a lot more. And the thing is like I haven't compared to other people. I still haven't even played it that much, but it is fun. I like the diversity. And they even said like we're never the COO will literally like put stuff on Twitter and post stuff about stuff for the game, and when people comment and stuff about it negatively even, and he's like, we'll never put PvP. We think it's too toxic for our players. We rather them just have a good time and all that.
That's great.
And I kind of like that because, I mean, up until now, the main game I feel like most people had been playing recently, besides like some of people's like handheld favorites, would have been Call of Duty. And it does get pretty toxic. And this is different where it's like you're not against other players. Technically, everyone that plays the game's on the same team working for the same goal. So it's a whole different kind of game mindset compared to, I think, any other game I've played. I think that's also why I like it.
Oh,
because I don't know any other games.
Destiny.
Maybe Destiny. Yeah.
I don't think there's PvP in Destiny, was there?
No. I guess Destiny would probably be like one of the closer ones to that, but like, especially something that online, yeah, that'd be probably comparable. But it is a lot of fun. But no, so I was in Florida for a week, and I've told you some of the things we did. Let's see. When we went down, I ended up going to 2 rodeos. One was a ranch rodeo, and one was a professional rodeo. I can't remember what the association's called for them, but ended up on the Jumbotron. That was kind of cool.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah. So I was probably on TV somewhere. I don't know.
We have to find you, dude.
Honestly, we could look for it. It might be out there. But no, it was a lot of fun. I hadn't been I haven't watched a rodeo in 10 years probably. So it was really cool to see. And some of the things that like you know it's going to be a good rodeo when within, especially on the ranch one, that like we went to that one straight from the airport, and within 5 minutes of the rodeo starting, somebody got stomped by a wild horse. And you're like, oh, this is going to be entertaining.
You told me that, yeah.
And then I guess the night before, I forgot to tell you this. The announcer mentioned, he's like, so who all made it here last night? Because it's like a multiple night event. And like they raise their hands. They're like, I see that there's a lot of ladies in the crowd. He's like, I'm guessing it's because of last night's events. Because I guess that Friday night, at one point, somehow, somebody's pants got ripped off.
Wait, really?
Yeah. And he's like, like he got completely depants, like nude butt, and they're like, I know why all you ladies are here. You're ready to see some cowboy ass and stuff. And it was a fun vibe. Like I think both announcers for both rodeos were they added a lot to it. It made it more fun.
Funny.
Like they were both really good, and like that one was a lot of team things where it was like cow decorating, where you got to put a ribbon on a cow's tail. But obviously, you got to fight the cow first. And, like, we saw a few people basically suplex a cow. That was kind of funny. But where they just completely grabbed it by the head and leaned back and just flopped them on their side. It was pretty entertaining. We saw 2 people get crushed by a bull. That could have been real bad.
That would be terrible.
But it's just, it's if you've never been, it's very interesting. I'm much rather go to that than, like, bullfighting in Spain. Luckily, I don't think that's as big as it used to be. But that... I don't know if I could watch that. That's a little rough.
Yeah.
Like that one.
That would just hurt me to watch.
Yeah. Well, like, it's just kind of weird because it's basically pre-scripted almost, where it's kind of like, hopefully he wins, and the whole point is for him to kill the bull, and like they spear it over and over again and everything. So I don't know. Like that, I don't find entertaining. But bull riding, that's pretty fun.
That
to watch.
is pretty fun.
And like the other rodeo, the whole reason we got on the Jumbotron was the guy was talking about where he's from, and there's a lady like 2 rows in front of us that was from his state, and he's like, yo, like another girl from Oklahoma. He's like, I gotta come up here and talk to you. And he climbed up and she came out, and he's like, I'll give you a $200 gift certificate to something if you dance or some shit, or it was something along those lines.
I hope she danced.
And she danced and everything. It was pretty funny. And that's how we ended up on the Jumbotron. But it was cool. Like they had horse trainers and stuff, where like a horse got in the back of a car and just sat in it like a dog.
Really?
And stuff and all those lines. I missed part of that because I did go get a drink. But it was really cool. The bad thing was I think it was the last or second to last bull rider did actually get injured, where he 100% like fractured and snapped his leg. And
is that the guy that got wrapped underneath the bull, or was that a different guy?
That was at the ranch rodeo, but no, on the professional one, the dude got tossed off, and then the bull went to buck and jump again, and the back legs landed on his leg.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a lot of force.
That would hurt.
Yeah, so it was pretty much guaranteed that his leg just got snapped. Yeah, he handled it like a champ for what we could see. But then they did say afterwards, they're like, that kid can go through anything. The dude was only 19, so he's your age.
Oh, no.
And,
nah, I'm good.
But they were like, he's been in remission from stomach cancer for 4 years, so this is nothing. And it was like, okay, that's badass. Like, that's awesome.
Insane.
And he's like, so bull riding is nothing for him. And
Wow.
I was like, that's actually really cool. And I got to witness mutton busting, which I don't know if I've ever actually watched, where it's basically you put a kid on top of a sheep and they just ride it as long as they can.
What?
Yeah, they just hold on. And some of the
I
kids that
know
were
what
on
you're
it were
talking
like
about. I think I've seen some videos.
4
of
years
this.
old, and they're on that thing, and they just cling.
I think I've actually saw some videos like years ago.
Yeah, there was one kid that face planted, and they're wearing like face masks and helmets, but they just got dirt all stuck on the mask. And you just see it because it's red dirt, and they're just covered. Like, I mean, there was a few guys at some of those rodeos where they just ended up getting completely covered in dirt because they got flopped around. Like, there's one guy that got drug across the arena doing one of the cow decoratings and stuff, and he's just holding the rope, and he's just getting drugged about 25 feet. But it was a fun time. I'm trying to think what else happened when we were down there. I mean, we did that, went and saw my grandparents, which was a given. We also went to both coasts. So we went to Venice, the Venice area over on the west coast. So we went to the Gulf the first time. That was pretty fun. Went to like an Italian restaurant, like the Venice main drag and stuff. That was cool. It was a lot of fun. We did go to a coffee shop that I don't think I would recommend. It was a organic.
You told me that.
Yeah, organic coffee shop. I can't even remember the name, but I don't know. I mean, maybe hopefully the food's better. But I got, what did I get? So I got kombucha. Already a not normal drink, but I drink it sometimes here, like recreationally. You see me have it.
I've never drank it, so
It's different. It's like a fermented drink. It doesn't taste bad. It's like it has like a weird tang to it. Like it's just different. Like you get used to it. It's really not that weird. But I tried that, and apparently they had it on draft, and I was like, sure, like I'll try some kombucha. Like let's do that. I got that and a glass of wine. It was like a blueberry sangria.
Ooh, that sounds good.
I thought so too, and it didn't necessarily taste bad, but the wine had pulp, which I've never seen before.
From the blueberries?
Yeah, it was like blueberry pulp, which wasn't very good. Like I don't. It was weird, and I was like, I've never had wine with pulp, and I don't know why it would, even with it being
you
blueberries.
Got wine at a coffee shop?
Yeah, it was like a cafe thing. They also had food.
Okay, I was gonna say.
And so that was already weird. But then when I tried the kombucha, the first taste that came to my lips was the taste of cigarettes.
Yeah, you tell me.
Yeah, I don't know why, but it tasted like cigarette. Like if I put a cigarette in my mouth, like it was. Don't know what it was. And then my sister got some smoothie, and I tried it, and it literally felt like somebody just grabbed, which I guess is a good thing, but grabbed something out of the garden, didn't wash it, and just threw it in a blender because it tasted like I was also tasting dirt. Like it was really weird. Like it didn't like.
Interesting.
Overall, it wasn't bad, but like it's like you do literally. I feel like I'm tasting the earth right now, and I don't know why I should be. So let's just say we were going to eat there. Let's just say after those drinks, we decided not to. We paid our tab and we left.
What is vegans doing nowadays?
We went to the Italian restaurant. I was like, I'm down for organic and healthy, but nah, like if I'm drinking wine, I'm here. Like I don't want it that healthy.
That's weird. Blueberry with pulp.
Yeah. And then we ended up going to like Fort Pierce on the other side on Friday, the day before we left, and both me and Bailey got very sunburnt. That Florida sun got me bad. That's the thing. You never saw Bailey. You saw me.
Yeah, I saw.
And I was bad enough. But my sister, oh my gosh, it makes sense for me though. Like I was in the water, I was swimming a lot. It was honestly pretty rough currents. Like we saw multiple people get wiped out by waves. It was pretty entertaining.
Oh, that's the best.
I got wiped out a couple times.
Those waves are the best.
Like let's just say I got slammed and drug into like seashell pieces close to the shore. Okay, where like I got scratched up and stuff. But I was like, I'm all about it. And then I did see a dolphin. When we were there.
Okay.
I don't know if I told you that. Well, I just happened to like look out and I literally just saw it jump and into the water. I was like, it was like, that's a dolphin.
I don't see those often.
No. And I was like, was that a baby? And I was like, no, it's just 400 feet away. What am I talking? Like, that's not a baby dolphin. Like, it just looked tiny because it's all the way out there.
It could have been.
It could have been a baby dolphin. And so that was fun. But no, there was a couple times I did get slammed by waves, and it was just because I rushed in and wasn't like really paying attention, or one, I was trying to ride the wave in, and you know, like sometimes when you ride it, you can come out of it pretty fine. Yeah. That one didn't. It drugged me in. And I mean, by the time I stood up, I was probably only in like 2 feet of water, but you know, like, yeah. But like when you get in that wave, you're getting tossed around. You're like, oh shit, which way's up? Like, and so you just put your feet on the ground and try standing. And let's just say there's sand in places by the end of the day that I was not expecting. Like it was, but it was a lot of fun. But no, Bailey like never went into the ocean. She's really weird about having water in her face, and she's wearing contacts, which she kind of had to. Like I can get away with not wearing them. Like I'm not wearing them now.
Yeah, I can get away with not wearing them too, but I can't see.
Well, that's like the thing. Like well. I'm fine. I can see without them. Bailey can't really, and so saltwater and contacts, eyes, not a fun combo.
When I go to the ocean, I do just wear without glasses. I mean, yeah. I can see.
Yes, and she could
but, like,
too.
Just objects are blurry. Yeah, so I can see like the whole.
Like honestly, it would have been a good idea for her just to take them out. And, like I brought her case,
or just put goggles on. Come on, Bailey.
Oh, wait a second. Okay, so video cut out, so we were back. We were talking about dolphins, I think.
Yeah.
No, so we were talking about Bailey. She I don't know. Ocean, her don't mix well.
She could have put like goggles on. Why didn't
she? Should have. We just didn't have any. She tried getting in like 3 or 4 times, and I guess she's just terrible at reading the wake and understanding how to time it properly. And then between that, even the one time she did kind of get through, like a wave came up higher than expected and then got water all in her eyes, and then she just was like, nah, I'm out.
So fuck this. Yeah. Nah, I'm out.
No, that's exactly how it was. And I was like, it's the ocean, like you can't tell it to stop.
How warm was it that day? Was it pretty nice?
Like temp wise or water wise?
I mean, either way.
Water wasn't bad. Like it was like water was fine. It was.
I don't know if it was like sunny and all that too.
Oh, it was very sunny.
Okay. Nice.
It was like 85. It was our hottest day
really
there.
Nice.
But no, so we did that, and then she just basically sat out in the sun. So she was sunburnt here, down her back because of her swimsuit, or her legs were cherry red, like her arms.
Any sunscreen on?
She did. She put more sunscreen on than me, but because she was out, and honestly, it was probably old cheap sunscreen. So she should have probably got different stuff because it was spray on. It wasn't like actual cream, and it just didn't do a lot. Plus, it was Florida sun, which she's never experienced, so a little different.
Oh, really? She's never went to Florida?
As a top, like one, that don't count.
Your grandparents having a house down there surprises me. Jeez.
Which one?
Your grandparents. I mean, just like them having a house and you Bailey never going down.
No, I've never been.
Really?
Till then. I mean, I've been to Florida. Like, I remember us going, but I was 3. Like, okay, well, here's a question. A little tangent. What's your earliest memory? Because, like, I've had some people tell me that they don't remember anything till they were, like, 6. And I was like, what? How?
It's kind of like how I am right now.
Like, my first memory that I can recall is basically my sister's birth. Like, I remember going to the hospital.
Okay.
Like, and I was not 3 yet. So I was like 2.5. Two.
I remember Emma getting born. But
you were like,
yeah.
You're not that old. You would have been like 9, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think anything past that, dude.
Man, how many times in the head have you been hit?
Too many.
Apparently.
With a basketball.
Well, you do got 2 brothers, so I shouldn't be
I do remember my mom tells this story all the time. But I do remember, I don't even know how old I was. Maybe 2, maybe 3. But I was just like that point, just still crawling. And she left me in a, at this point we had like a big van, big white van basically.
Oh, okay.
And she left me, she pulled back into the driveway because she forgot something, ran inside, and how our driveway was, it was like cockeyed,
yeah,
so like
slanted.
So she left me in there for like 2 minutes, like I need to just go get my purse or something. Well, in that like 2 minutes, I somehow managed to unbuckle myself, get in the passenger seat, and push the car in neutral. And by the time my mom was coming out, the car just started rolling backwards.
So you were 3 and you did that?
Something like that, yeah.
Oh, damn.
I don't know.
I don't think I ever did that.
Let's just say I was not that good of a kid back then.
Yeah?
I was kind of a demon child is what Katie called me.
I mean, I was pretty well behaved. I remember, like...
No, you weren't.
I was. I honestly was a good kid. There's just, like, a few times where, like... You know, there's those moments when you're... What's the word? Not consciousness. You're... What is it? The thing that talks in the back of your head that's supposed to tell you what...
Mind. No, brain. I don't know.
Oh, no. Conscience?
Yeah.
Conscience.
Your conscience.
Not... Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Your conscience.
Well, it shut off at one point. Where I was probably 5, 6, maybe 7, somewhere around there. And... I shot out the window of our barn with my BB gun.
You shot out.
Shot it. I shot it. Yeah.
Why?
I don't.
You were shooting at it purposely?
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm sitting there, and even afterwards, I was like, why did I do that? Like those moments as a kid, like, you know, when you do that kind of stuff, like I can look back at that, and it is like those learning moments where, like, literally. When you, like, ask your kid after they fuck up, you're like, why did you do it? And it's just like,
it was fun.
Like, honestly, like, I didn't have an answer because I was like, I don't totally, like, I guess I wanted to see what would happen. Like, I didn't think it would actually happen. Like, you know, like in your head, it's like the time and place once you're like a certain age where you can't preconceive consequences. And so you don't understand the result of what this would do. And then I sit there and I literally just, like, had my BB gun, and I was like, I think I was with somebody. Like, there was a kid over, and I just was like, watch this. Bang. Just shot the window, and my dad was pissed. He was livid.
I bet.
Between that and then, like, me and Bailey called 911 when we were young for fun, I guess.
Did they get called out?
Yeah, they showed up. We were getting babysat, and I was 5, Bailey was like 3, 2, like somewhere around there.
No.
And well, the reason being, and as a kid, I guess I like some of it, and like they wanted to like make it a learning experience and be like, oh, you only call 911 in an emergency, whatever. Like, we got that spiel, and I get it. But also as a kid, I'm sitting here. It's a home phone, but we don't have it connected. Like, it's not. Like, we don't have service, so, like, we can't make calls on it. It's just there. We still have it. It's plugged in. That's it. Like, it's not connected to phone services. It was just in, like, my mom's office, like, desk that she didn't really ever use. So me and my sister were just fucking around with it. And Bailey said she was the first one to call, and she might have been. I like, memory of it's a little fuzzy, but let's just say I didn't believe it, and I was like, no. And I was like, there's no way. Like, it's not connected. Like, I'm 5, 6. I was like, I know the phone's not connected. It should work. And I hit 911. I was like, we'll see. And then they go, 911, what's your emergency? And I was just hang up.
You're like, oh shit.
I was just like, ha. and then later, a sheriff just shows up at the house because I got obviously a ping location from the call. And I don't think we told our babysitter. And then my mom showed up, from work as the cop was at the house.
No.
And so it was like, what did you do? I mean, it was nothing major, but we did call twice. So that didn't help either.
They were kind of confused.
But at the same time, they show up and it's a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. It's like, well, shit. Like, I mean, it was literally like one of those situations where it's just like I wasn't expecting it honestly to happen, and I did it. It's like when you don't know what a phone number is and you call it just to see if someone answers, and you're like, oh, I don't know them. Like, it's kind of like that situation where you're just like, oh, it actually answered. Like, oh, like as a kid, when you're like trying to prank call, and you're like, it went through.
Why did it go through?
Well, I mean, technically, even if your phone has no service, like even
you can call 911.
Yeah, you can call 911. So it's similar thing. So like even this phone that we use for a camera doesn't have service, but I could call 911 on it.
I didn't know about home phones. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, so it's the same. I guess it's the same thing. I didn't know it at the time, and I found out.
I've never used a home phone in my life.
Yeah, so that's the only call. Well, I say that. That's the only time I called 911. I don't know if I ever mentioned this on the podcast. I did call 911 last year with Bailey. Not technically. I called the not like.
What are you two kids doing?
No, I called the non-emergency line. Came across an accident. Person, you know who it is. I'm not gonna say it on here, but the person, and this was at the school, just outside the school, ran into. You can still see it if you go by. You know, like those concrete barrier posts that they have on things. She hit that, and we just happened to be driving home, and I did a double take, and I was like, oh, that fucking car like hit the is into the pole. Like we didn't see it happen, but I was like, the pole's leaning over, so I back up in reverse, pull in. And I go over there, and I realize who it is, and I'm like, are you okay? Like, she was like, yeah, whatever. Clearly intoxicated. Open container in the car.
Oh.
And very oblivious. And I was like, are you injured at all? Like, do you need help? Like, do you need me to call someone? Do you, like, anything? Just, do you need anything? Do you need help getting out? Like, she kept trying to put the car in reverse. We noticed that. But, like, the whole axle was fuck, like it wasn't moving. It was total. Like she definitely hit that concrete pole, not going super slow. I mean, she wasn't going like 60, but fast enough. And so we had to call the non-emergency line to be like, hey, we're out here behind the school entrance. Came across an accident. Doesn't seem to be injured, but definitely intoxicated. Like someone needs to come out here. So we did wait. They took down like contact info and all that, and they took care of her, and she ended up in the drunk tank for like a day. But
I bet, yeah.
That's the only time I've ever had to call authorities for any actual reason. No, well, I didn't call that time. My dad went to the hospital. That wasn't me, but that was an interesting night.
I've never had to call the cops, but I mean, I guess the cops did show up to my house once.
Oh yeah, what'd you do?
It wasn't me.
Oh, okay.
It was like a personal matter. You know,
okay.
like everything that happened beyond with Noah.
Oh, okay.
Years ago.
Yeah. Well, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've luckily never had that. I'm honestly surprised we've never had cops called out here for even just a noise complaint before.
Really?
Yeah, we've had parties. Like, even before the ones last year, we've had parties before. And, like, obviously, you know, we have neighbors. But at the same time, our neighbors know that we put up with their dogs barking. Now that I think about it, I haven't heard them bark in months. That's kind of weird.
No, I've heard them.
Really? I don't feel like I've hardly noticed them in a while.
Maybe
I mean, it's winter,
Diesel.
but it might just be Diesel. but yeah, I was surprised that's never happened. But no, Florida was fun. The only thing that sucked, which you know, was we were supposed to leave on Saturday. Flights got delayed. We're in there 3 hours early. It's already been pushed back like 5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Then they end up canceling all flights. And so me and Bailey had to figure out how we were going to get home. And then if we rebooked, we wouldn't have been flying till Monday. So this was Saturday afternoon. My grandparents lived 2 hours from that airport. And so we had to kind of find our own way home. And so we ended up saying, hell with it, got a refund and got a rental car and drove 19 hours home. It's literally like almost probably 1,200 miles on the dot to our house from there, and drove through the night. I ran on 3 hours of sleep. I was probably up for 40 plus hours by the time.
Did Bailey not drive at all?
She did.
Okay.
We took turns, but it was interesting. It was nice at least going through Atlanta at like 3 a.m. because there was no traffic. So we got through Atlanta.
Sure, usually it does.
Oh yeah, I've heard horror stories about trying to get through Atlanta. especially on a weekend or even just a work day. Ugh, I couldn't imagine. Like, I dealt with some traffic in like Indy and stuff on like busy hours around 465, but I don't think it's any comparison to what happens down in Atlanta or LA or something.
That would be terrible. I've heard so many stories about LA.
Oh yeah, their traffic where it's like technically if there was no traffic, like just stories from COVID where people were like, oh yeah, like COVID was great because they would go somewhere and turns out that normally if it was a reasonably normal situation and traffic's not what it is, which I don't understand how it is so bad, but like they could get somewhere in 15 minutes. But normally before COVID, when everybody was on the road and everything, like that same drive might take you an hour. Mm-hmm. You're like, wow, and you're not even necessarily going that far. I think we do definitely take it
for granted
how nice it is for.
But then again, those people can move. So.
And a lot did since then. Yeah, but so it's been interesting. And then I also started a new job Monday, so lots been changing for me, I guess, over the past couple weeks. But
I'm still a boring dude.
You're not boring.
Same job.
It's fine.
Haven't done much.
So I guess, you know what? I guess I can kind of mention this on this podcast. I've never actually talked about my job. I won't mention the company. I think it's been mentioned in the past. Hopefully no one really noticed. But yeah, I basically for the past 4 years, damn near, is going on 4, pretty close actually. I had been working for a company cleaning and detailing ag equipment. Okay. I guess, yeah. And doing stuff along those lines. At one point, I was in management. We were on the road and we were doing stuff out at farms. It's a taxing job that most people don't understand. And it was very underappreciated, and that's part of the reason why I left. But it was too much. It was the type of job that basically the whole reason I even like signed up for it at the time was the pay, because it was basically double what I was making. And so it kind of was there for the paycheck. I was hoping to move up, but things just didn't work out. It's a big but not super big company where it's like it's hard to work your way up unless you're really there for the long haul, which I wasn't. So
that's kind of how my job is in their whole company.
Yeah. So lots been happening. Next week though, for next week's episode, we're planning on having a guest. You would have seen him and in 2 live streams technically, but one got deleted. Freddie Rodriguez will be on the podcast as a guest officially.
You remember him, the Mexican dude.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun. Sometimes not very talkative, so hopefully we'll see how it goes. Might have to.
He can be talkative.
He can be.
He definitely can.
So hopefully it's a good time. Excited to do that. We still have other guests to line up. We still want to do changes to the studio and stuff this year. Brian actually mentioned, he's like, do you want one? Like, that was a great episode. We need to have him back sometime this year.
He was great.
Yes, it was so much fun. I'm saying a lot. My bad. Anyways.
However.
I feel like an idiot right now. I'm doing it again.
I don't even know what you're trying to say.
No, so Brian talked to me and he's like, if you ever want to have a real guest on, like a guest, like a special guest, I have somebody. And I just told him, I was like, who? His son. His son works for a company. He's also an author. He's made multiple books. I don't think this is the one that made a movie. It might have been. But he writes like horror books and stuff.
Ooh, that'll be interesting.
And he's actually reasonably popular. Like, I don't think he's not Stephen King, but he definitely has an occult following. I guess they did a fan meetup a couple weeks ago, and Brian showed up with his wife because that's her kid and everything, and they showed up and they were shocked by how many people were there coming for signatures and doing everything.
Brian. Huh, I had no idea.
So he did say, he's like, if you guys ever want to hook up for a like more of a special guest, like I don't know, D-list celebrity, whatever. I was like, that'd be cool. I was like, if we do that though, I definitely want to have the studio changed before we have something like that on.
We should have him for a Halloween expo.
Oh, that would be kind of cool.
That would be cool.
That would be kind of fun. I hope he'd be down for it. We definitely have to do some research on him and read some of his books.
Yeah. What's his name?
Josh. What is his last name? Oh, I don't know Val's last name. I don't know. Josh something. His newest book is called Mouth, I think, is what it's called. So,
I was just gonna give him a shout out.
Yeah, I'm bad at this. We're still pretty new on the podcasting game.
Well, everybody go look up
Josh. Just Josh.
I was gonna say Mouth.
Yeah, look up Mouth.
And then if it's an author named Josh, maybe it's him.
And one of his kids' movies that released last year, it's like a horror thriller. It's weird. It's called Glory Hole. Go check that out. It is not a porn. I can tell you that right now. Basically, the whole thing is, the plot of the movie is along the lines of, I've seen the trailer. It did look pretty interesting. Where this guy basically gets like at a rest stop, kind of gets locked in. It turns out that there's some like omnipotent being or force that's in the stall that starts talking to him. Whatever. And it's something weird where he's like, it involves a hole in the stall. I don't know. It's really hard to explain, but yeah, it's called Glory Hole Glory Hole. So check it out. I think it's called Glory Hole. I hope it is.
Check it out on YouTube.
Yeah, look it up on YouTube.
On YouTube.
Watch the trailer. It could just be Glory. I don't know. I think Hole's in there.
Don't try to check it out on any other website.
Yeah, don't do that. But yeah. So
that'll be interesting.
So, I guess since I told you a story where I made some childhood mistakes, where was something where you really got in trouble? I want to know. Yeah. What were like
off the bat? I already know one.
Oh.
I don't even know how old we were. Like probably, let's say, 12 and 18, probably. Me and Nathan. Nathan is riding a 4-wheeler, and he's just before he was driving, and we were just messing around and all that. I think he made me mad or something, but anyways, I jokingly just picked up a golf ball, and I saw him coming by, and I just threw it at him, hoping to scare him away. Nailed him right in the right eye, gave him a black eye. Yeah, and I think I actually made his nose bleed too. So, yeah, I nailed him right there. He went inside. My mom was pissed at me.
And that's when I decided I should play baseball.
No, I've been playing baseball the entire time. I couldn't believe I actually hit him. I was like, he's going like at least 30 on a 4-wheeler.
Yeah.
I just picked up one and chucked one. I meant to chuck it like right in front of him. But I guess that is hard to just try to tell, but... Okay. It was insane. Oh, that was terrible.
Did you ever have any childhood mishaps or like injuries from doing something?
I mean, injuries, 100% from sports.
Well, yeah, but anything besides sports, I guess, because that's reasonably common. That is common. That's something.
I just remember me and Nathan and Noah just going outside. We would have like basically sword fights, but we would like literally what we do was find old like sleds, and like literally like circles, like little sleds, and just go down like one person sleds. Well, Nathan had a great idea to make those into shields. So we put like a rope in between and grab it from the inside. That's his shield. Okay. We made like 2 of those, so like we would fight over that, and then we would use PvC pipes for swords. Okay. So we would literally whack each other. I remember having bruises like the next week after we had those fights.
I'm not surprised. Me and Bailey did something similar one time, except it was with, I'm pretty sure it was like rebar. Like it was steel. Luckily we were mainly sword fighting, but there's definitely some times where we caught each other's hands. Like that's not one where you really want to get hit with.
That's the thing. We wouldn't even go for their hands. We would go literally for the whole body.
Yeah.
And like the shield's like, you only can block so much. It was insane. I remember just those. I remember like you saying, just like not thinking at the very instant what you were doing. Right. So like one time we were helping my dad, and I was closing the barn door, so it's a sliding door
Yeah.
on, wheels and all that on a track. And I just kept going and kept going, and
You pulled the door off.
Yeah, well, the thing is, while I kept pulling, I got stuck up on a light because we had a light hanging from the barn. So I was like, why can't it just keep coming? Come on. I did not know I overwent and already got it off the tracks and everything. I broke the whole light, bent the whole thing, and like the door almost fell. It was that bad. Like up top, it was like hanging by like two things. Yeah. And my dad was so mad at me.
Yeah, that could have been bad. I mean, I don't know if I might have not mentioned this before. I've had one 4-wheeler accident.
Me too.
It's one of those situations where I got very lucky because it could have went very south. Like I was going, it was when I learned how to drift. I figured out how to drift. And yeah, that's not a good combination with a young boy.
I know what you mean.
I think I was 9. I was in 3rd grade. And so at the property we had that we were living in at the time, there was also like a grind leg there. So a big old loop for semis to come through. I was always hitting that back corner. At one time, I decided to step it up a notch because I normally was limited to not speed, but my dad would limit me to what gear, depending on how old I was at the time. And one day I pushed it. Like I probably should have been in another gear. Like I was definitely over hitting RPMs on that thing, but I was going probably 20 plus, and that was more than normal on my speed. And I went around it too hard, where I almost completely flipped her around, and I was completely sideways. And when I say that it could have been bad, I swung around with so much force that I was literally holding on pretty much for dear life by the handlebars. Like my legs flung out. If I would have let go, I would have got tossed literally into steel that was over there.
Oh shit!
And I rolled it 3 times. Not wearing a helmet, not wearing shit.
Yeah, I think you told me this actually.
And I ended up like under it by the time it was all said and done. Somehow I stayed on it the whole time, never letting go. And basically because I was small, I was able to stay in between the ground and the seat. There was enough space because of the handlebars and everything else that I didn't get crushed or smacked the ground.
That's insane, dude.
And I'm literally laying there, 4-wheelers upside down above me, and I crawl out, and I literally only walk away with scratches all on my leg from the gravel, and that was it. Like nothing else. And so my dad came out, obviously was like freaking out, flipped the 4-wheeler over. I was fine. He wasn't he was mad, but he wasn't mad because I think he realized how bad it could have been. And no one was out here. I wasn't wearing a helmet. Like, who knows what could have happened. And he's just glad it's okay. But then he was like, your mom's supposed to pick you up today, and you just did that. Like, fuck. Like, one of those situations with divorced parents. You're like, well, how the fuck am I going to explain this to your mom? And one of those situations. But no, that one could have been bad, and luckily nothing like that had ever happened again. Like I took out a fence post one time with a 4-wheeler, but that was just because I was going like 60 through a field.
So actually, that kind of happened to me. I've had 4-wheelers my whole life, so there's been multiple incidents.
I was always the thing with me was I was never too much of a daredevil for some reason throughout my life, like. The daredevil knob for me has always been like tuned to just a certain level, and then it's like, okay, don't push it and do something too stupid.
That's how it was for most of my life. It's like since I got to
Noah's the opposite. He's full.
100%. So like whenever I rode with him, he would take it on one wheel, 2 wheels.
Yes.
Dude,
my cousin would do that.
Scared the shit out of me.
I would never.
But once I got to a certain level, like probably 14, 15, I was like, you know what? Screw it. I have one life. I might as well go for it. And I remember
conversation you want to have with yourself.
Remember having like a relay race with me, Noah, and Nathan.
Yeah,
I think Evan came over too. But we were just doing a relay race, and we had to like go around the woods and then come back.
Yeah,
and like the finish line was like after the shed. You know how the shed is in the barn?
Yeah.
So like there's a shed in the barn.
Yeah.
And then right there is like a brick pile.
Yeah.
Well, I remember freaking we timed it, and we have to beat the best time. And I was like, oh, this is it. I'm gonna beat it. I come around this turn, and like I kept going. I just didn't even start slowing down. And you have to turn really sharp to go around the bricks.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't do it because I didn't stop in time. So I remember like almost clearing it, but my back left tire hit the bricks, launched me forward. I did like a front flip in the air or something. I don't even remember, dude. Like it happened so fast.
Yeah.
But like I just remember just like getting back from the ground. My helmet's gone. My glasses are gone. Everything gone. Like everything I had on me was basically gone on my head.
Unless you were wearing a helmet.
Not when I woke up, basically.
Yeah.
I was like, what just happened? And I don't know what happened to the four-wheeler. Like, I just remember having to pick up all those bricks. No, that's what sucked. But I was lucky to, like, not even have a concussion.
Yeah.
It was that bad, dude. Because
you got
past the barn.
You got flung off of it.
So, those bricks, and then past the barn is the wood pile.
Yes.
You know how big of a gap that is.
Oh, yeah.
When I got up, I was literally like 2 feet away from the wood.
Yeah. So
that's how far I got
tossed a good 15 plus feet. Easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, there's. Yeah, I've never been too much of a daredevil. My cousin was the same. Like he would go hard. He would try to hit jumps. He would put it on 2 wheels. Like I was never that type. I was always like, nah, like something could happen. Like I would get a little wild here and there and a little squirrely, but like there was always a limit for me. Like even when me and Noah did some stuff, and when we were out in Oregon, like he went and climbed on a log that was across a river, and it was probably at least a 30 feet drop onto in this rushing water and stuff. Like he would do that, or like even when we were teenagers, he climbed up a fountain probably about 30 feet, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'm not saying I couldn't do that, but like if something happens, it's all concrete below you. And so like Noah's the type where he just would go for it. Mm-hmm. And me, I'm like, I'll do some things, like, but I'm not that dumb. Like
dude, you should have saw him at the Grand Canyon when we all went.
Oh no, yeah,
he was
hanging off the side of the cliff.
He literally was. Look at
me. Like,
I remember one time I just looked down. I was like, "Where's Noah?" And literally, he's just doing pull-ups on the side of the Grand Canyon.
Nope.
Nope.
Not even risking it.
Even
when we were up on like some mountainsides, when I went out there and stuff, and I'm standing next to this cliff, and I don't know how far, but way too far. And I'm like, I'm not scared of heights. My whole thing is the whole time when I'm in situations like that, it's like I'm completely aware that my feet are planted firm. Like I'm not messing around. Like I'm next to a cliff.
You don't
like
want
I'm
to
not. Yeah. I don't do the stuff like Noah. Like I'll there's just certain times where I'm like, no, that's just a little too much, because we are in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing around, where it's like if something does happen, it's not going to be an easy situation to deal with. Like it's like I've always kind of been that way, and my sister, I feel like even more so. That's what's funny is like, here's my meter, here's Noah's, Bailey's is like here, and so for like that's the thing with me and Bailey. It's like I'm the extreme one in comparison to her, but then Noah's worse than me.
That.
Yeah. And I've never been into that.
It's kind of how I am with all my 2 brothers. Yeah. Nathan's kind of the more lean back. Noah's full on
you're like
throttle.
Somewhere in the middle. Yeah.
I'm literally in the middle, because then Katie's right behind Noah. 100%.
Yeah, a little bit.
With driving 100%.
Like even like that's the thing. Like I would be fine with getting like my motorcycle license, but I also know the apparent risk of also driving a motorcycle.
I'm definitely getting my motorcycle in the future. I definitely am. I really want to.
It is fun, like riding dirt bikes and riding bikes like that. It is fun. It really is.
This might come to their surprise, but we've never had dirt bikes.
I never had one either, but I've been around them, and I remember the first time I got one or got to drive one, and I was like, okay, I see the enjoyment. It's fun.
I never really rode one, but I'm definitely going to in the future.
Yeah.
But I mean, of course, I'm going to take a class
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
do all the training.
You do all the training. I'm gonna be. I mean, of course, I'm wearing a helmet because that's.
Oh yeah. Well,
that's the number one reason people like die is because they don't wear helmets.
Yeah. That and stupid drivers.
Yeah. I mean, I keep seeing like freaking people on my like feed just going like 120 plus on a sports bike or something.
Oh yeah.
Like in weaving between cars, and I'm like. That yes, that might seem fun until a car just starts trying to turn. And
yeah, it doesn't take much.
You can blame it on them all you want, but you might be dead, dude.
Yeah, and that's the thing when you do see like motorcycle videos with cops, and it's like, oh, they're doing a wheelie, like it's harmless, but at the same time, like it's technically illegal. Like I don't know if it's illegal, but
it depends on each state.
At that
I
point,
do know
I think
different states have different laws.
I think that's almost considered reckless driving because you're not in full control of the vehicle when you're like that, and if something happened to you, you could also cause another accident. Like that's like why it's a no. But then at the same time, I've also seen people like there for a while. I watched a YouTube channel, and this guy would do like bike rides with people, and they just like cruise the city, and they're driving like I can't remember what the hell they're called, but literally it's like a 250cc. It's just like a little dirt bike, and people will just do that for fun, and they'll just ride together, and then they'll pop wheelies. But it's like that I feel like you should be able to get away with a lot more when people are just cruising and messing around than like when someone's on like a crotch rocket and they're doing crazy shit and doing that because that has way more power than those little 100%. Bikes. And yeah, the things that can happen. Like I think so. Calvin has his motorcycle license. He has a bike, and I think I don't know if you've seen it.
I found that out a few days ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he told me one time because I think he got his license in Florida, maybe not. But he told me like one time he's riding with some people and they were doing some dumb, crazy shit on the highway, and it was like a week later that same group of guys, someone got killed in an accident and died on that same bridge doing dumb shit. And he's like, and so like Kelvin is definitely the type where in that situation, like I think. I don't know. I haven't been in some of those situations. I'd say he is a daredevil, but then at the same time, he's very cautious and aware.
He knows how to control it.
Yeah, he much rather be in control of the situation. I think that's what my thing is, too, with most of those things. It's like, it's not that I couldn't do some of those things necessarily, depending on what we're talking about, but it's more like the more riskier it gets, the more out of control it is. And I don't know if that's also, like, part of my personality of in certain instances kind of being a control freak, but I rather be more. It's kind of like the same thing where it's like sometimes you like to drive, you don't want someone else to drive. It's like that thing too, where it's like I don't care. Like there's some people I don't care, but then there's some people you ride with and you're like, you honestly just aren't a good driver, and I kind of wish you weren't driving right now because like you just like riding in the car with you honestly is a risk.
Hands up and everything. You're like, oh fuck, I'm gonna die.
Yeah. And then there's other people. It's like my sister would say I'm not a good driver. I'm a fine driver. There's just times and situations where, you know, you're not paying attention or you're tired or something's going on. It's like, oh, sorry, I accidentally went on the rumble line, like whatever. But it's like other people I've seen where it's like they're just not paying attention. They just took a turn that they should not have or something along those lines. Where it's like if I do something like that where, like typically I'm the type where there's been times I haven't taken a turn because I wasn't sure if I had time, and it turned out I had plenty. Like I'm cautious of being like, I'm not gonna purposely get out in front of a car if for some reason in the back of my mind I think that I wouldn't make it, even if it's not that far. Whoever's behind me, I don't care. You can wait another 35 seconds to cross this road because I'm not risking my life because you're in a hurry.
That's kind of how my job is training people because I mean it is a company truck and they want everybody to be safe.
Yeah,
that's kind of like how I've been just driving in general though too. Like even on an interstate or something, I always just make sure to look left and right multiple times before doing anything.
Yeah, the only times I don't is when I've been on the highway for a while and you just kind of become aware of your surroundings. And you're like, okay, so I know there's 2 cars behind me, but they're
because I mean you just have mirrors.
Yeah, and there's times I definitely don't check, or if I do, I at least look in my mirror, but I know that no one's coming up, and if so, and if it did happen, it'd be like, where did you come from? Because you weren't there, like kind of situation. Like last time I looked, there was absolutely nobody, so you must be flying up.
Or he's just been in your blind spot for 30 seconds.
He's been there for a minute, and I'm like, oh, hi. But no, we got some stuff planned. I mean, who all do we think we want to have on this year for guests? I think so. Brian again, possibly with someone else. We still got to get Freddie. I think we should get Josh at one point. Bailey at one point this year. She hasn't been on in a hot minute for a while. If we got Brian's sibling, no, Brian's son, that would be interesting. I'm just like, I don't know. There's
Chris says he wants to get on.
I'd be down. So, yeah, there's definitely a lot we still want to do this year. We might have been behind a little bit recently, but we're getting back after it. It's just the thing is you realize that how much simplicity when it comes to humans and routine is, and honestly how important it is.
Yeah.
Like being off for even that second week in particular, it's a lot more. You realize like, man, I wouldn't be against retiring, but at the same time, like I would definitely have to have things to do and still have to develop a routine, because like when you just have freedom to do whatever you want for a week, sometimes you're like, man, I kind of wish I was do something. You have no structure.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
And I've fallen out of that where I'm like, honestly, I know it's going to suck, but I do want to get back into like waking up at 5 a.m. and going to the gym and doing all this. Like the things I want to do with that routine is very beneficial, but at the same time, like it is nice to have that. Obviously there's times where it's like, I could stay out for another 2 hours, or I could stay up or whatnot, but it's like,
or I can go to bed 2 hours early.
Yeah, or I can go to bed and get it done.
No, that's 100%. Like, since I'm just now got out of high school, and the entire time I basically had a part-time job.
Yeah.
And I mean, part-time jobs are so nice. It
can,
really is.
Yeah.
Because you only work half days, and then the rest of the day you have nothing to do. But it's definitely true, because once coming from a part-time job to a full-time job, it's like, dang, I got back like at 6. Now I only have like 4 hours to do something.
Yeah, exactly.
But like once you have a 1 day or like a whole week free, you're like, I have 12 hours to do nothing.
And there was someone that's naturally a procrastinator, and like we talked the other day, probably do have ADHD. Like certain things just don't, like even like last week, or not, that wasn't last week, but even when I was here, I was like, I know there's stuff I should be doing, but I couldn't get myself to do it, even though I had ample time. I did, like, there is something to that where it's like, and I literally watched a TED talk on this once in high school on procrastination, where it's like, honestly, deadlines, things along those lines help, because it's like, it like forces you to get them done, and deadlines are like a weird motivation where it's like, okay, I only have so long. Let me knock this out. And I'll work for 2-3 hours. I definitely hated it in high school, but then now you kind of appreciate it, because you're like, it actually did get me to do stuff where it's like, if I knew I have like, I have 12 hours to whatever, I can do it whenever. Like, you push it to like the last minute, and you're like, fuck, like I actually really gotta get
I can clean my room in like 2 years.
Yeah, just like little stuff. Like it's like, I need to do that, and then you just don't do it.
That's me too. I procrastinate way too much. Yeah. It just comes down to routine. It just does.
Exactly. And
life is weird. Life just moves fast.
Yeah, dude. You gotta figure it out.
You have to. I mean, just life moves so fast.
It does. You know? It does. It's crazy, because like I feel my age, but then at the same time I don't. Like it happens so fast. Like it really does. Yeah. It both does and doesn't. Like you just don't realize how quickly things do happen. And you're like, 4 years? Oh, wow. Like, that's more time than expected. But at the same time,
we were just saying, we were talking about some show, and the last season came out 2 years ago, dude.
Yeah,
and
true.
It seems like it came out 4 months ago, you know?
And I think COVID, especially over the past 4 years, makes it feel so much worse. Even though, like, for me, being out of high school and not in college, it didn't affect me the same way it affected other people my age. But even for someone that wasn't in an institution or situation where it's like, things are completely at a halt, or you completely have to change what you're doing. You're not going to class anymore. You're doing online stuff or something along those lines. It still threw a wrench in the machine for everyone. And even then it's like, and I think that's one reason why the past 4 years felt like they went by so fast, was because there was 2 years of that. It didn't seem like shit was, like anything was happening. Even though stuff was, it was just like, died down. It was like
That's what I'm very thankful of is during my high school. I mean, of course, COVID happened when I was in high school, but my last 2 years in high school, thankfully, COVID was out of the picture, basically.
normal. It
It
was
was back to normal, including my senior season. Because senior is like one of your most usually people's favorite times of their life.
Yeah,
basically.
because I mean, so much change, things are happening. There's a lot going on, so it's like I couldn't imagine how those 2 years affected. I mean,
it's just like
everybody.
those 2 years just went by so slow, but also just zoomed by because now you look at it and like
I couldn't imagine that affecting a freshman at college.
I was like I was 15 when COVID.
Like going into college, 2020, like I don't know. I
mean
that was throwing you off, or even like a kid going into preschool. Like how big of an effect did this have overall? Because it's like kids going into school, developing like.
Just look at Noah's senior class.
Yeah,
it was during COVID, and there was 8 people.
I wasn't during COVID.
Yes, it
was it?
That's why they had it outside.
Was that COVID times?
It was COVID times.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah. Well, true. Yeah, that is true. I didn't even think about that.
See, even that you forgot.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was COVID times.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like so much. I feel like so much has happened, but then at the same time, not a lot's happened. Like it's one of those weird situations. It's like a lot's happened in 4 years, but at the same time,
just look back and you're like, what really happened? Actually,
did a lot. Like it's really like even my time working at my old job. I'm like, when did that happen? Was that like 2 months ago, or was that a year ago? Like I don't know. Like it's just like all compiled, and like,
time is a weird concept.
It is. I mean, even like, especially like the week I was off with that sleep schedule, it was like I told you, I forgot what day it was. Like I missed a dentist appointment because I thought it was a different day. Like I completely.
That's the same stuff that happened during COVID. Nobody knew what days it was.
Yeah.
Because everybody was like
stuck inside.
It's just another day.
Yeah. Whatever. Like even the week or two off I had because I had COVID and stuff. Like even that time was so weird because, I mean, I feel like the main thing I did then was like I think at the time I was playing Halo Infinite. And other than that, I was like watching some shows or whatnot, but I was stuck in this house on my own for basically 2 weeks. And honestly, being alone doesn't affect me, but it did. Like it's like one of those weird situations where it's like I don't feel like it affected me that bad, but then at the same time, who knows? I might have been more down than I thought at the time and stuff. But it was a weird effect on just everybody. It was a weird time. I'm glad to be living life.
I'm glad that's over.
Yeah. Speaking of, we're going to a concert in 2 months.
Oh yeah,
we're going to NF, baby. So if anybody's going, find us. Section 203.
What he said.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that because I mean, like that was the thing. I went from 1 year having the most concerts in my life, which I think was like 5, to the next year having 0. So this is my first concert now, technically, in over a year and a half.
I thought you had one last year.
No. Oh, we were supposed to. We were supposed to go see NF in Chicago, but then that fell through.
We're seeing it now.
So exactly. Yeah. So it's fun because like it's like those things. Like there's definitely times where people are like, oh, it's a waste of time and money and whatnot. You could grind harder. I think there is something to there. 100% is something to that. There's a reason why some people are so successful because they sacrificed something else to get that. But there also is something to just being able to go with friends and just enjoy music,
just live life,
and have a good time.
Live life.
Like it's so much fun. Like even people talk like some of the best times that I probably will remember are gonna just be like me and the guys, like you, me, Kelvin, Freddie, times with Noah, Josh, just hanging out, bullshitting, playing golf, like just doing like little random things. It's just that's gonna be the things we'll end up missing the most for sure. It won't necessarily be the jobs. It won't.
Memories are the core thing to keep us happy, really.
Memories and relationships with people.
Yeah.
It's obviously very apparent that we're social creatures, but you sometimes, at least in my life, I felt like I was not subjugated to it because, I mean, I was a lonely kid in high school. I didn't have a lot of friends. Like Noah was mainly my main friend. I lived outside of town, so like I didn't get to hang out with people all the time growing up, and so I mean it also explains like why me and Bailey are so close because we were the only 2 people that we're really around the majority of our life compared to anyone else. And so it is, honestly, and I don't know, maybe Freddie or some of those guys don't understand it, but I'm going to get kind of deep here. But I am honestly very grateful for like the friends I have made over the past 4 years. Like it's crazy because I wouldn't have necessarily imagined it in high school, but then also like now just like being able to hit up friends and be like, hey, like let's just hang out, let's go do something. Because it's like I didn't have that same ability years ago.
Let's have a sleepover.
Honestly, we talked about it, and I'll tell you right now, if it happens, like 100%, motherfuckers, I'm sleeping on the floor. I don't care. I'm going back to middle school.
Sir.
Like nobody's sleeping in beds. I don't care.
We can make forts.
Exactly. So there's just I don't know. There's something to that where it's just like just being with people. Honestly, can just be so much fun.
Just being with your friends or being in a group of people, it's just amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's why I'm looking forward to it. Like I wish we had better seats. I wish we had whatever seats we got still weren't cheap. But at the same time, and I told them even at the start, I was like, I'd love to have closer seats. I'd love to do this. But honestly, just being there, I can tell you right now, I will have a great time. Like I'll love it. Like I really don't care, especially if I'm there with all you guys and we do end up making it like a day trip, like we talked, and we just hang out. We're in Indy and whatever.
Fun.
Like I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun. Like it'll be a good time. But yeah, no, it's fun to be back. I can't wait to have Freddie on. We have done a couple Halo live streams recently.
Check those out.
We're still playing through it. So if you guys are a fan of Halo or just want to, if you're free whenever we're streaming and you just want to come on and chat, more than welcome. I mean, honestly, it's fun talking to people in chat if you're there. It's always a good time.
It's a lot of us dying. So
sometimes, yeah, that happens.
Dude,
I mean,
Halo
we're playing them all through on Legendary. Yeah, it gets
Halo 2 is brutal, dude.
At this point, we're like a third, maybe not even a third, probably a quarter of the way through Halo 2. But
I thought we're like at least halfway.
I don't know. I don't think we're not half. So if you guys do want to join in on those, I also think we've talked about it. I think we should do it sometime and literally just do like a podcast live stream, like just you and me, or have someone on, just being here and bullshit, play around and whatnot. Not necessarily just like gaming, but just us doing whatever. I think that'd be fun.
Like a live stream that we had with everybody else. But
like just like a little more laid back, but literally just hanging out, like almost make it like a Q&A. Like
that would be cool. Yeah.
I think that'd be fun, or do other stuff.
Just you and me then.
Me. I mean, I think honestly, you and me could do it, but also if we had like one person on, I think that'd be fun too. Just come and hang out and
Josh
talk.
would be good at that.
Yeah.
Josh just has so many random facts, dude.
Yeah. A lot of energy between him and Kelvin for sure.
That's true. Yeah. That's true.
But I think that's probably going to do it for this week's episode. I'm glad that we are back. It's a lot of changes, at least for me, recently. So I'm looking forward to it, ready to get back into an actual routine. I need to turn that discipline switch back on a little bit for sure. But,
yeah.
I think everybody needs that every once in a while.
Everybody
needs you got to reset.
Definitely in their life.
Yeah. You always hit that reset point where you're like, damn, okay, like I actually need to.
Dang, that wasn't there. My belly's fat.
Yeah. Catch it early, boys. You don't want to. I don't got a beer belly. Yeah, this is just regular fat. I don't drink beer, so I'm good. I'm a liqueur guy. I think
Noah's gonna have a beer belly.
He might have a beer belly. Hopefully he doesn't see that.
He drinks a lot of beer, dude.
Hey, we should have Noah on sometime.
I'm down.
That's actually true. I actually could. I didn't think of it. Like, duh. Yeah.
Live stream?
No, well, we could do a live stream, but just in general. Even if we did a podcast and then a live stream after.
Yeah.
There you go. Boom.
Can you believe that?
Do it all in one night.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
That would be a long night.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you guys all for listening to this week's episode. We'll have a guest on next week, and we should hopefully do a more like deep dive topic subject here eventually. Actually do one. I honestly think we should do the one on David Goggins if you're down, so we can actually read those books and talk about that. That'll be a fun topic.
That'd be cool.
So hopefully you guys have all had an amazing couple weeks, and we are here to stay. So we'll see you guys all later. Make sure to check into the streams, like and subscribe,
comment,
whatever.
turn the bell.
Exactly.
Bell icon.